Okay, so seeing a number of questions on the group asking about sanding and stuff, and I'm by no means an expert here, but this is what I do. Um, these are some pre-cut glasses that I've got here. Some of them are more kind of sanded down than others. What you want to do is to get them to a nice flat finish. So what I do is I use a sanding block here, which I bought off of Amazon. I mean, there's various different grits. This is 100 grit, which for me is a bit high. I prefer to start off with a bit sort of like 120, 150. But this I use to do shave off all the rougher bits with that over this bucket of water here. So that's my initial sanding that I do. Once I've done that, I'm over here and I've got these sandpapers that I set up before I get going. So all of my sanding is done in the tray here, and that's because you're dealing with glass fragments that I don't want all over the show. Keep it wet by sticking water in there, so I always dunk my sandpapers in here. And here I have got my sandpapers. So going backwards, that's 1000 grit. That's a bit dog-eared, that one, probably because it's been wet. In fact, let's start the other way around. So I'm beginning with 120 grit. 120, 150, either one I'm quite happy with to start off with. That's quite coarse. Obviously, the smaller those numbers, the more coarse it becomes. Goes down to 40 grit. Some tutorials do start with those, but I discover they do more harm to the glass after a while, so I'll always get rid of the bulky crap with this one. Technically speaking anyway, the sanding block should be taking care of that one's work anyway. Still sanding, and I then come down to trying to do this one-handed. This stuff does tend to get a bit sticky. So yeah, down to 180 grit, so a bit finer but still enough to continue to take away unwanted bits on the glass. And what I do is I tear this in two, lay one half down and rub the end of the glass over and fold the other one in half, and I use that to do the edges. Moving on. 240s. This is still a bit coarse, but it's starting to find polish now. Then getting down to, this is starting to polish, so that's now a 320 grit, and then it will jump further down to 400. This is polishing now. I mean, I've got printer paper that's more coarse than this, you know, and then you're down to 600, then 800, and then 1000 you see over there. And then when you're getting down to 800 and 1000, that's when you'll find polishing, and that's when you're getting a nice edge that you get at the end. Some don't go all the way to the 1000. I suppose it much depends on what you want to do with it. I mean, these ones won't be drunk from. These will be used for candles and what have you. These ones, on the other hand, this is a Cobra glass. That will go all the way to 1000. And in theory, you can go beyond 1000 to get a far better polish than you have. And that is a lot of what I do. So there's my raw material there and there. Those all need to be cut. Quite a lot there. I've got more to get on with, as you can tell. And in there I've got kind of a storage drum for those I've already cut and need sanding down. So that's kind of the process. I'm in the process of getting these shined and hopefully sold, so I can get more cut. The same process there. How long does it take me? A couple of hours. Some people may balk at that, but understand when I am sanding these down, I would do 4 or 5 glasses at a time. I don't work well on one at a time. And yeah, I mean, I'll post more of my processes for that later, but that is what I generally use. And my raw process always begins with this block, and I find that with that it takes far less effort over there with a standard sandpaper, if I've got one of these as well, and that lasts quite nicely. I bought that on Amazon. It isn't a saber tooth. I would preferably prefer one of those. Therefore it's a bit, you can't easily get it on the inside edge which you can with the sandpaper and the saber tooth. But for what it does, it's pretty good for me, and I've done several bottles with it now. I do get other grits with it, but I prefer to use sandpaper after that. So that'll be that, and it'll take me a couple of hours to get all these sanded down and polished such that they are safe to drink from. But that's my process, and I kind of have a sort of a filing system, an accordion filing system where I keep my sandpapers in. So when I'm going to do a job, I will go and get my sandpapers and arrange them in order so I can work through them as I'm doing the job. Needless to say, safety is always paramount. I wear gloves. I've got a mask that I wear for this as well, and goggles that I also wear. Some people don't bother with goggles. I prefer them on because, you know, splashing your eye, and if it's got glass fragments in it, then, you know, you only get one set of eyes and one pair of lungs, don't you? So that's why I do what I do. I hope that helps people, and yeah, please feel free to like and subscribe to my channel, because I'll be posting more stuff about this in the near future, including more stuff about my my journey.